I'm not even that type of person. I'm not a partier. I'm not a clubber.
Yeah.
When I did do that, my back was against the wall in the corner.
The win for me is to get people into churches, but then to also give people.
So you got to learn how to balance the both.
Yeah.
And I feel like the older dudes could teach us that, but they be so.
And I think that's a way better argument for why we should be very careful with what secular music or whatever we even call it we should listen to than like.
Ruslan.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with a very special guest, a friend of mine, a very prolific artist in his own route, entrepreneur, Christian, I don't know if we can say Christian rapper, but Christian hip-hop artist.
Yeah, that's cool.
Paris Chariz, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, bro.
Man, thank you for coming, bro.
Man, thanks for having me.
I appreciate your flexibility.
Yeah.
It's a hectic time here. I'll tell you more about it offline, but you made it from the rain, from LA in the rain to San Diego.
We here.
But you're originally from
Detroit,
Michigan.
by way of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay. And so how long did you live in Detroit before you transplanted?
Pretty much halfway.
Okay.
I spent 16 years in Detroit, 15 years in Tulsa.
Okay. And so Tulsa's been home since you were a teenager?
Yeah, since my 11th grade year.
Okay, got you.
I'm 29.
Got you. Tell me that contrast going from each other. It's very, very. I've been to both. Very different parts of the country.
Very different. Detroit is very. Well, I won't say it is. When I was there, because I haven't gone back like that. I'm more of a Tulsa native. But when I was there, it was very dark. But it was a lively city. I got a lot of my personality from there. I feel like a lot of things that I went through that kind of made me and shaped me who I am started there. And I think God brought me to Tulsa for a reason. Yeah. I feel like I would have been in a different way of life had my mom not had the opportunity to move me to Tulsa. So it became, I didn't like it at first, but it became something that I very much so appreciated.
What was the biggest contrast, would you say, between Dallas and Tulsa?
Detroit.
I'm so sorry.
No, you good. You good.
No
I
disrespect to Detroit.
I don't want to mess up the.
My
you know
fault. No, it's good. Detroit and Tulsa.
Yeah. The biggest contrast is it's a lot easier from where I stayed at in Detroit to where I moved at in Tulsa. It was a lot easier to stay out of trouble.
Got you.
I would say that's the biggest contrast. One was on punishment for a year. You know what I'm saying? Where I was in a room, not doing nothing but doing homework and then going to sleep. Okay. When I did, but. This
is when you moved to Tulsa?
Yeah, this when I moved to Tulsa.
You was on punishment for a full year?
Yeah.
What did you do to get on punishment for a full year?
Like, man, at top of high school, my mom just saw me going down the wrong path. I was hanging out with, it's so cliche. I hate to say stuff, but it's very cliche. I was just hanging out with gang members. I was a lot of Bloods. Like, I was just doing whatever I wanted, skipping school. In middle school, I was a principals. I was on the principals list, like for honor roll. Like I was very smart, but then once I got to high school, everything just shifted that summer. And my mom, she kind of just wasn't having it. And I think I got like a 1.2. And she was just like, "You can either go live with your dad or you can move with your uncle in Oklahoma." And the way they got me was they showed me. If anybody, just go look up Union High School. Go look at the gym. My uncle just said, if you come here, I'm going to take you to this school, you're going to play here. That was it.
But play ball there.
And then he put me on punishment. I couldn't play basketball.
Oh, you went to Tulsa and you couldn't play basketball?
Yeah, he got me.
Wait, but did you get to be on a team?
Yeah, I ended up, my 12th grade year, I was on the team.
You were on a team, okay.
Yeah, but my 11th grade year, he just wouldn't let me play.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had made the team and everything. He let me try out everything. He's like, you can't play.
So you go from Detroit living with just your mom. The option was go with your dad and your mom and your step-ass. Go with your dad. And where was your dad living at the time?
He was living in the suburb, Dearborn.
Okay.
Like 15 minutes outside of the city.
Got you.
Yep.
Or go to Tulsa
with my uncle.
And you were like, the gym's nice.
As soon as he saw that, man, I tell everybody like,
ball is life, huh?
Yeah, I was really trying to make it. I remember in my 7th grade game, like this dude, he at the line shooting free throws and like a rat run across the floor.
This is in Detroit?
On God.
Wow.
Yeah, a rat just ran across the floor and it was like, nobody was tripping. It ran under the bleachers, and then the game continued. You know what I'm saying? So I saw that gym, like, I have more opportunities.
Sure.
And it didn't even change out. Like, if I would have stayed in Detroit, I would have had more opportunities for basketball because it's a basketball city.
Yeah.
Oklahoma in general is football. You know what I'm saying? So I picked up music anyway, so it was God's grace for sure.
Yeah. So is that around the same time you got into music?
I didn't get into music till my first year. I went to Bible school first.
Okay.
Because I didn't even play my 12th grade year because the third game I dislocated my hip.
Oh,
so I didn't even get to play.
Dislocate? That sounds awful.
Yeah,
bro.
It was terrible. I was out for like 9 months.
Oh my God! Just for a dislocation?
Yeah, because I had to rehab and all of that. Like, because I was clear within like 7 or 6 or something like that. But it's like the mental.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't mentally back. Like I was still feeling like I was hurt.
Yeah.
It was very tender.
Yeah.
So I just went to a Bible school that had a club team.
And
that's actually where I got like actually saved.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I went there to hoop.
Which Bible
Rhema Bible College.
Where's that?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh, in Tulsa as well. Okay.
Yep.
Got you.
Pastor Kenneth Hagin.
Okay.
Yep.
So you go to Bible college to play basketball.
And I ended up getting saved.
And that's how you got saved.
But I already knew God though. Like my uncle, you know what I'm saying? My uncle was in church, all that. We was going to church, but like saved for myself.
Personally
you know what I'm saying? Personally saved, having a relationship with God on my own.
Yeah.
That was like the start of it. Because I was living on my own. I didn't stay with my parents. I moved out. So it was like just going through the walk of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that at the time, were you a little resentful towards your uncle for like hitting you with the bait and switch?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because it wasn't even like I was mad at him. I was more so like disappointed that I made the decision.
Yeah.
I was more so mad at myself.
Yep.
Like, man, I should have stayed at home.
Yep.
I was around my friends.
Yep.
But once I started making friends, like it all changed.
Yeah.
Because I'm still friends with the friends I made now to this day.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm in business with for real.
Yeah.
Outside of my cousin.
That's cool, man. So you end up going to Bible college. And then what led to you finally like personally getting to know the Lord for yourself?
Man, I don't know. It was more so like my teammates. Like I had a teammate, Corey, my teammate. I know my second year there, my teammate Chaz, who I'm still cool with them. They were older. They were a few years older than me. And they was kind of like coming from the same background. Like my boy Chaz, he had did 3 years in prison, got out of prison, came straight to Rhema. So I was like, I'm under them. Like, cause I respected where they come from. It was a familiar kind of feel. And they were really trying to do better for themselves. So it's like, once I saw them kind of doing, especially my boy Corey, my first year, my boy Corey and this dude Kalen, I don't know. And my coach as well. Like my coach, that was the first coach I had as far as basketball. That, and he was a white dude, but he like cared about me. You know, I really feel like he cared about my attitude. I had a terrible attitude. I just feel like he cared about me. And on top of my uncle, like I said, my uncle was in the church as well. He graduated from Rhema as well. So it's like just having that, building that foundation. I was chiseling away at like 16, 17 years of kind of being able to do whatever I wanted to do outside of certain things that my mom wouldn't let me. But my mom always gave me free range to choose what I wanted to do. It wasn't never no strict, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're doing good, you can go out. If you know what I'm saying? If you bringing the grades home, you can do what you want to do. So I made sure to do that. So this is like the first time I had to do that, but in a spiritual sense. Like if you want to get closer to God, you got to do the work. And I feel like those guys showed me that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
So it was a demonstration. It was more caught than taught.
Yeah. And I'll say it was a little bit, because I'm in Bible school. So it's like I'm getting a little bit of biblical foundation, but I'm also 18.
Yeah.
A year and a half removed from, like I said, doing whatever I want. So it was a fine line.
And how long did you spend in Bible college?
I did 3 years.
3 years.
And then I went to actual college. I got a scholarship to hoop at an NAI Division I out of there.
Okay.
And that's when I actually went to college for 3 years.
Wow. So you did 3 years of Bible college.
And then you 3 years of actual college.
And where is that college at?
SCU. It's in Oklahoma City, Southwestern Christian.
Okay.
Yep.
So you moved. From
I
Tulsa
moved,
to Oklahoma.
Yep. And that's kind of where it went deeper too. Like, cause I kind of reverted back. I kind of I left my church, all my friends. That's when I was under my pastor, Pastor Mike. I just went backwards.
Yeah.
Kind of living a life of cliche, like living a life of sin.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like we all sin every day, but I was choosing to do certain things every single day. You know what I'm saying? It led me to a lot of things. So from that, I did 3 years of that, and then I feel like God led me back to Tulsa, and that's when I picked up music for real. Because I was still rapping in the 3 years I was at SCU. I was still rapping, but I really picked it up once I dropped out of college and moved back to Tulsa. Okay, that's when it became more so like a career than just a regular hobby. Because I gave up trying to go overseas or go to the league. Yeah, I feel like music is what.
What made you give that up?
Man, when I kept getting hurt, I broke my foot. My last year.
You having some brutal injuries,
real, I broke my foot my last year. But I was still, like I said, I was still making music. And when I built, in 2015, I made my SoundCloud. Man, by my birthday, I had like 5,000 followers. My birthday in June. in 5-6 months, I gained like 5,000 followers. And then I put my first project up on Rapzilla. I sent it to Rapzilla, then they posted it. And I don't know, I just felt like God was calling me more that way. Because basketball and school was going to, I wanted to get away from that school because I felt like it was like a cycle of stuff that I was just going through with girls and classes and teachers, students. I had already put myself in a bad cycle. So I feel like God was just like, I'm gonna give you this, almost like a reset. I'm gonna give you one chance. Like, you can do this. And I feel like I heard him. And even my parents was cool with me dropping out of school. To rap full time. They was cool with it. They was like, we feel like this is the first thing you've ever done for yourself. They feel like everything else they had felt like everything else I was doing was for them. Like, to make them happy, make them proud. But I was just like, man, like, I showed them my numbers, I showed them the songs I was making. They were just like, let's go. You know what I'm saying?
So how long from kind of dropping out of college, going to pursue music full time until you started kind of like, okay, like this financially could be your thing. Like, this could be a career path. How long did that take?
Like 2 years.
2 years, okay.
Yeah, by like 2018, by 2018, I was doing it full time.
Okay.
Like I moved, like I said, I moved out of my apartment in Oklahoma City. I moved to my boys' couch, like the rap story. I moved on my best friend's couch, and it was really them. Like it became financially, like I was able to do that financially because of my friends. Like my boy JV, he let me stay with him, and like he would let me pay rent late. Like sometimes he like covered me. Sometimes he got on to me as well. Like, just as a man, like you can't be late. But it's like, even, you know what I'm saying, my brother now, like, I feel like I have I don't know, it's like you just got grace to do it. Like, I've been graced he put the people around me to allow me to pursue this dream full time, you know what I'm saying? Outside of me getting it on my own, I feel like the people around me helped me, push me to kind of fulfill everything that I've fulfilled.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, I mean, they say that the 5 people closest to you will often determine who you will become in the next 5 years. You know, so it sounds like you have some really good people around you that believe in you. And kind of pull that out of you, while at the same time holding you accountable.
Right.
All right, look, just because you rap it, you still got to figure out a way to make money.
Exactly.
What were the things you had to do in the meantime, in between time, like to earn money, like jobs, career, anything like that? In the meantime?
I reverted to some negative old ways as well, but just.
You was no.
What?
I was gonna say, you said negative. I wasn't thinking that. This man went straight.
I don't know where you was going with you. The way
That's
you
I'm trying to figure out where you was going with it. You said you reverted to some negative things.
It was. I had to. I don't want to go there, but I had to do some.
That's smart. See, you're not self snitching.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
No, you can't tell on yourself. But I did a few things that I wasn't proud of, but at the same time, I feel like I did everything that I was supposed to do. Not that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm saying everything else.
Yes.
To not have to do that.
Got you.
And it wasn't like all the time. It was like slight stuff.
Yeah.
But like again, I feel like the biggest thing is like I was just graced.
Yeah.
So it's like things always just worked out.
Yeah. Can you be more specific?
Selling my clothes, selling my shoes.
You was hustling.
Yeah, for sure. Doing mad features. I've probably done like 400 features.
Yeah.
Like mad features.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know like how many features out there.
Them joints come out and you just scroll past.
I was just taking like I might post it. I like, dang, I did this. I don't even remember.
That's the wild part when you do features and don't remember.
Yeah, like I'll see some stuff or somebody will tell me like, man, you killed this feature. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. You ever done a feature and been like, God, I gave away a good
one.
I gave him a good verse.
Oh, nah.
This joint ain't gonna get 1,000 plays.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I feel like that's another reason why I feel like I just look at it different because I'm naturally a hooper. So music, writing, like poems, words, stuff like that's where I'm natural at. But like rhyming and melodies is like I had to work to get good at that. So it's like I took the chance to every word, every verse. It's like, nah, like I can do this just flow out. I ain't gonna slack on a verse because I can write a better verse or I can write a verse just as hard as this. It's like
But
I ain't never thought of that.
You've never had a verse that you let go and then heard it back and was like, yo, this is a hard.
Maybe a line. Okay. Maybe a bar.
Okay. Like, we all got that.
Yeah, maybe a bar. It may have been like a bar where it's like,
yeah.
But it's like, I'm gonna get something harder. Or at that time, like this, one thing I do too is like, if I come up with a fire bar, I'll just, at the same time, I'll just make derivatives so I could use it again, but in a different way. I don't know. That's just, maybe that was self-snitching. Like, people gonna be like, man, this dude, he be recycling bars.
I think it's one of those things, like, a lot of artists don't like doing features. But then from the flip side of it is, if you're still developing, you're kind of getting paid to practice. You know, you're getting paid to practice. So you do 400 features, and let's just ballpark 500 a feature. Yeah, that's some good money
for sure
to get paid to rap while you can experiment with melodies and try different settings, your vocal chain, and like, you know, play around with stuff.
And that's exactly what I did. I didn't do it intentionally, but just unintentionally. That was my perspective. Like, not to get paid to practice, but like, man, I'm gonna use this, like, because I did. You should think like, man, if I make something this good, like, how I'm gonna do it again.
Yep.
And me and my boy JV, who I used to live with, we had that conversation because he do all my graphic design art, and we've had a conversation like that. Like, man, like, I'm always scared to put out something fire because it's like, what if the well runs dry? You know what I'm saying? It's like, we can't think like that. If we think like that, then it will.
Yep.
But it then again, it won't, because God ain't gonna take the gift from us. He gave us the gift already.
Right.
So
that's right.
It's that, you know what I'm saying? That battle within.
Yeah. That's good, man. That's such an interesting thing. The journey of a full-time creative, right as they're trying to figure out like the financial side, is always fascinating to me. That's why I'm curious. Like, are you doing odd jobs? You hustling feature? Like, what are you doing to sustain yourself until it kind of stabilizes?
I mean, I've been stable for like the last like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, I might have a month where I'm like paying bills, get groceries, little miscellaneous fun. That's it. I may have a month or two, or even 3 out of the year like that. But for the majority, I feel like I'll be straight. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes I'll get, you know what I'm saying, what they say, like, you get checks in the mail, you get bonuses. Yeah. All of that.
Mailbox money.
Mailbox money, for sure.
Mailbox money, yeah.
That back end.
And the crazy part is, man, like, you're of like the 1%. You know, out of all the people that make it in music, out of all the people that make music, a very small percentage make any money off of it, and an even smaller percentage make enough money off of it to sustain themselves. Yeah. So that's a feed in and of itself. And then to sustain yourself as an openly Christian artist.
For sure.
You know, that's really, because now you're talking about independent musician trying to figure it out, on top of like, now you are and you're a Christian, so you have kind of like one arm tied behind your back, right? In terms of you know we all got things we can't say, you know, we shouldn't say,
we shouldn't say, for sure. Yeah, because I even like when I was even scared at a point in time, because I stopped doing church shows. I did unless it's at my church, or like, I don't know. I just don't like getting random calls or emails from a church and like accepting it. Like, I went to a church in like 2018. It's like, I'm not the type of artist where it's like, I don't want people to just jump up and down. Like, that's not how I write. Like, I want you to listen, think, you know what I'm saying? Take it back, learn something. Even if it's a vibe, like, even if it's on some vibe type music, like, you can, it's the spirit, it's the soul behind it, not just for you to, like, let's get hype. Because I don't know, I went to my last church show like that. It's like, I perform for these kids. I'm performing my songs like Big Rank. Like, I'm performing my song Big Man, talking about my pops, my relationship with my dad, and these kids they're looking at me just jumping up and down. I'm like, dog, I'm talking about not having a relationship with my dad. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's when they kind of click, like, this is not why I do it. Like, I can get this money, but it's like,
you got to figure out another
it's lame for real.
Forward.
It's lame for real. It's like, and not to say doing church shows is lame, but to me, like, the way that I present myself, my music, this is not where I feel like I'm called to. I feel like somebody else could get this check. You know what I'm saying? So
that's great. I mean, that's self-awareness. That's good. That's good.
Because I was ready for it. Like, this is 2019 or 2018. I got like 25 bands plus travel and lodging. Like, I hadn't even put out a real project for real. Like, I haven't even had real money put behind my music, and I just got $2,500 for flight and lodging.
That's big money. That's big money when you're a rapper.
Like, huh? Yep. Y'all gonna pay me $2,500 to fly to North Carolina in the middle of nowhere to do what?
Yeah.
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 Then when you get there, like they want me to sign their clothes. It's like,
Yeah.
you don't even know who I am.
Yep.
Like, what you want me to? Why am I signing this?
Yep. Yep.
So it's like,
yeah,
that's when it clicked to me. It's like, man, I gotta get it another way.
Yeah,
that's why I do so many features.
That's the industrial, evangelical industrial complex, right? There's an entire industry around youth groups, around CCM, around all these different things. And so what happens to artists is that I don't think our brains can decipher standing in front of people and knowing the difference between, like, I went and built an audience from the ground up, and these people paid $20 to come see me perform, versus I'm at a venue and there's 1,000 people. I don't think your brain knows the difference, right? So as an artist, you just like, I'm lit. I'm in front of 1,000 people. I'm in front of 500 people. And you can start deceiving yourself and start thinking like, yo, they're here for me. Like, and so what happens, and then from the financial side, what you're talking about is then when you're not building the hard ticket draw.
Yeah.
So for every $2,500 show you did, the business way to build it would do those occasionally if you want to do them, but really to go out and build a 200-person room.
Yeah, 150.
Take an L on the finances, but develop the intimacy with the audience.
Who said you even gonna take an L? Like, you could probably, like, with those 200 people, you probably sell out of merch.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's a fact.
That's
a
like,
fact.
You might, or let's say it's a 200 show, but you get 80 people, but all 80 people buy merch.
Yep.
You might only have 75 pieces.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
now you in high demand.
Yeah,
you come out in the green for
that's
real.
Good.
Like,
that's good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't mean to say it's lame. Like, I ain't trying to like dump on nobody that do that. I feel like it is artists and people that's supposed to do that. But I feel like anybody just kind of taking that money is, I ain't with it.
Yeah. Tell me about some of the tensions you kind of see within the whole CHH thing. That's been back and forth. I feel like my critique with CHH has been couple-fold. One, it's that. Like, I feel like people get a little bit of money, and when you 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, $2,500 is an insane amount of money. You make six figures, that's an insane amount. You get 50,000, 25,000 Instagram followers, you think you lit.
Yeah.
But then you place a lid on yourself because you just think like the ceiling is a Reach Records artist or Rapzilla, right? When the ceiling is way higher than that. So I think there's that. And then I think that the flip side to it is there's people who just kind of want to do what they want to do and will take that bag without actually caring for those kids, for those youth group kids.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So would you agree with some of that? What are some other tensions you see
I
with
agree
CHH?
with some of that. I think I think my tension is just a disconnect between the older folks and the younger folks. And me myself, I feel like I'm in the middle. Not even to say like J. Cole, but like, I feel like I'm like a middle child. Like, I respect, and I was here first before the younger guys, so it's like I look up to the Lecrae's, the Andes, the KBs, the Bizzles. You know what I'm saying? And then it's the younger dudes coming after me, and it's like they got a lot to say because they've seen it all. They seen my struggle, they seen their struggle, so it's like they come up with their own analysis or whatever it means. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just a disconnect between the two, and I think the way that we fix that is really just listening. I feel like older people. I had a talk with a older artist maybe a month ago, and I had to tell him. I feel like he jumped in my comments when it was something negative to say, but it was very rare that he jumped in my comments when I'm doing something for my community, when I'm even doing something for myself with my music or my fashion. And I feel like it was a disconnect with me and him because he felt like he does do what he do because he didn't grow up with phones, so he feel like when he reaches out that it is showing love, that it is. But to me, it's like, man, I want interaction. I'm a personable person. I'm not like I said, I did 400 features, so it's like a feature is a transaction to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like I respect you. It's like, let's have a conversation, even if it ain't crazy. Like, I don't talk to Derek Minor every day. I can say his name because it's positive. Like, I don't talk to Derek Minor every day, but it's like when me and Derek talk, we connect. And then when it's about music, it's about music. I don't mind. You could throw me a song, I throw him a song, it's whatever. But when we actually talking about something, we connecting. And I feel like it's a disconnect with the connection and the listening part. And the youngers, I feel like the younger people just don't listen because we want to. I won't even say they. I feel like we want to do what we want to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like you said it in the Caleb Gordon interview. Is like, it's if you want to make vibe music, just make it. We don't got to talk about Jesus. And it's like, No, you don't. But when you say you're a Christian rapper and you do that, you got to take what come with it as well. So you got to learn how to balance the both.
Yeah.
And I feel like the older dudes could teach us that, but they be so whatever. You know,
That's fair. That's fair. I didn't got no pushback.
That,
I think you're right. I think there is a disconnect in terms of just relationships.
It's relationships for real.
Yeah, like being willing to just build and have conversations and all these sorts of things. And I think it's also a lack of imagination from certain artists, because artists low key don't be business people. You know, they don't be business people, and so like we'll look at. Right or wrong, good or bad, like we'll look at a Montel Fish and we'll look at a Nick D, or we'll look at a Paul Russell or Foggy, and these are all guys that come from the space, right? And so we'll just look at them and be like, wow, and it's like, no. You could do that. That's the blueprint, bud. You could do it. We all could do it, because we all know that a lot of the Christian hip hop is amazing. Like the music is actually, in my opinion, better than the stuff in the world.
Some of it.
You know what I mean? I'd say a high percentage of it. I say a very high percentage of it.
I disagree.
I say you remove the elites. Like you remove what is the cream of the crop?
Of CHH?
Of secular music.
Oh, okay.
Like remove Kendrick Cole, remove lyrical miracle stuff. Like who's the guys that are signed to Cole? Oh my gosh.
You're moving the goalpost with that, but I rock with you.
I'm saying the median, like the average. Like the average, I think, of Christian hip hop is substantially better than the average of.
I rock with that.
Whatever is happening in the world, and I would say
it's a lot more. Because it's a lot more rappers than the Futures, the Drakes, the Kendrick. Right. It's hundreds to thousands of rappers. Right.
And I would say a lot of times, man, like if I'm comparing Andy to Drake, I think Drake been striking out. You know what I'm saying? I think Drake's been throwing up duds.
Not for sure.
And I feel like Andy takes this stuff so seriously that it's seldom Andy's gonna strike out.
Yeah, and I think sometimes like the music with Andy might be better because he too is also personable. So he takes his time. Like Drake, I think my biggest gripe with Drake is he hasn't grown. I feel like he hadn't grown up.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Not that the music ain't fire, but it's like, ain't you like 37? Like, Drake got a son.
Drake is my age.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, like I don't respect that. I feel like that's why Rolling Stone made that article about him, about how it was a miss. Her loss was a miss. But I will say, and this may be no disclaimer. I feel like what you're saying about the higher percentage of Christian is like the reason why I disagree with that too is because I feel like a lot of some Christian artists take advantage of Christian listeners because Christian listeners don't listen to that music.
That's a fact too.
So they derive things from the artist that you're talking
about.
That's
a fact too.
And they may be a little bit more talented, may be better lyricists, whatever, but they take from those artists and then bring it to Christian hip hop and mask it.
And Christian rap fans don't know.
Christian rap fans, it ain't about the artist, it's about the rap fans. The rap fans don't know.
You
know what I'm saying? So it's like you kind of taking advantage of the listeners and they think you're this great artist. And then on the flip side, you turn around and say, don't listen to Christian artists. I mean, don't listen to secular music. But it's like...
Sounds like a conflict of interest.
You're literally getting your style and some ideas from the artists you're telling your listeners to not listen to.
That's good.
So now you kind of like sneak dissing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It would be like me saying like, man, some of these podcasts... I ain't about to get no example. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
Like,
I'm tracking. I think that's a fair point. But that's been Christian music historically, unfortunately. Like that's always been like, I mean, bro, back in the day, I don't know if you were ever around Christian music when there was actual Christian bookstores, because it's been a minute.
Oh, like Mardell's type vibe?
I don't even know what that is. Like Lifeway Christian music. Hold on. No.
Yeah, it was in Oklahoma. My first Christian store experience was on Mardell's.
Okay.
And they sold like Kenton Jones CDs,
okay,
J Moss.
Yeah. So we would had a place out here called, I think it was called Loaves and Fishes.
Okay.
And then there was also like Family Christian Bookstore. We had two. We had one in Escondido.
Loaves and Fishes. That's crazy.
One in Oceanside. So there's 3 Christian bookstores within a 40-minute drive.
Okay.
Right? And so what you would do is you would go into these places and they would literally have posters. So like, if you like Eminem, you will like KJ52.
No way.
If you like such and such, you will like such and such, right? And I'm not, no diss to KJ52, like that. I love KJ, that's my guy. But that was the marketing.
That was the marketing,
was like there's a secular version of this, and a Christian version of the secular artist. And if you didn't fit into that mold, you weren't getting any looks in the stores, and the labels weren't really rocking with you. So I'll give you a real brief example. I don't know if you know who Ahmad is from 4th Avenue Jones. Ahmad had the song Back in the Day. Back in the Day.
Oh yeah, Ahmad. Yeah. We
So,
was just listening to that last week.
So Ahmad in the late 90s got saved and started a band called 4th Avenue Jones.
Wow.
And they initially was booming locally and in the secular side.
He from San Diego?
He's from South Central.
Okay.
And so he was booming on the secular side as a Christian, and the band was exploding, and they signed to Interscope. Okay. And so they had a couple records out. They was touring with like The Roots and I want to say Wyclef, and it was booming, but it didn't work out on Interscope. So he bounced to independent. Now, granted, this is a different time. This is the mid 2000s, so you couldn't really. So
it's different. Independent is different this time.
And he ended up signing to a Christian label. I want to say it was Tooth and Nail.
Okay.
And this is a big Christian label at the time, but they what they did is they did hip rock soul. So he was low key kind of early to like the Kid Cudi stuff, like the melodic tone, like all that stuff that exploded.
The type of music he made.
He was doing that 5 years before it was booming. Okay. And it was fire.
You just put me on. You got to show me something.
Bro, it was amazing. But they couldn't figure out where to place it. So he would go do rock festivals, and then he would perform at Flavor Fest.
It wasn't no genre.
There was no
genre
for him. Yeah. And it was some of the illest music I've ever heard. And Ahmad is like one of my favorite rappers ever. Yeah. And he was singing, he was rapping, he was doing really good stuff, and it just didn't work. And thankfully he pivoted and he went to Long Beach Community College. He became the valedictorian, I think, there. Then he went to Stanford. I think he is a I want to say a clinical psychologist at USC now. So he's a brilliant dude, man. So anyway, so I would see these situations of like dudes that I'm like, yo, Ahmad can go bar for bar. Matter of fact, Ahmad was on the Wake Up Show with Kanye.
Yeah, no, Ahmad is cold.
Bar for bar. You know what I'm saying? Amazing stuff.
Because I always wanted to know what happened to him. Because he had another song that I liked too. And it's like, he never made music again. It's like, that's what I felt like. But
he put out a lot of music, but it was a different time back then
it was
to
different.
Be independent, trying to figure it out, and then like come from a major label, go back independent. It was hard. And so anyway, I say all that to say that I think you're totally right. And I would say it's a part of the business model, unfortunately. Now maybe it's changed now. Maybe the internet has made things smaller and all that kind of stuff. But when the business model was that, so you're totally right. And when TikTok came around, though, when YouTube and TikTok came around and really became staples, I think that opened up the floodgates for anyone to get popping. If you were good enough and you were willing to learn the craft.
Like a 12-second fire, 6 bars.
Even a snippet. Guys is getting popping off snippets on TikTok.
Oh God, people got saved. I said saved, but people got deals off snippets.
Yeah, and so it's an interesting time that went. So I guess one of my, to say all that full circle, one of my critiques with Christian rap is like, yo, I have no problem with people making music like Nick D. Nick D is my guy. Okay, he does not talk about Jesus at all, ever. Okay. It's all pop songs. It's pop songs for teenagers.
Like clean. It's like clean songs.
Pop songs, bro. Okay. And I'm like, yo, there is a utility from that, because I don't know if y'all heard the non-Christian or like the actual secular pop. You got Justin Bieber talking about peaches and weed, on a massive hit record, calling his wife the B word on a pop hit record. I'm all for Nick D not cussing, singing about his wife and being a dad. Right. And even if he doesn't do any Christian raps anymore.
Because I feel like even at the end of the day, like he gets those people, and then when they come and meet and greet, because correct me if I'm wrong, ain't John Bellion Christian as well?
I don't know John at all, but from my understanding, he is.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like I got that feel, and it's like people meet him, and it's like, or even like Tori Kelly, like. I remember one of my homegirls telling me, like, she went to a Tori Kelly show and they broke out in praise and worship in the middle of the show. And she had an altar call type vibe. Wow. And I'm like, Tori Kelly, Christian? Yeah. I seen her on American Idol type vibes. You know what I'm saying?
Tori Kelly's dope, man. She's dope. Like, so I say all that to say, I think now if an artist has that burden, this would be the time. This would be the time to just stick to your guns, lock in, do what you feel convicted. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to remove Jesus from it altogether.
It don't got to be conventional, though.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be conventional. You could do what you want, but the tough part is, again, artists like just want to make music and don't want to learn the TikToks and the YouTube Shorts and the IG Reels. They don't want to learn content.
I was that person. I was that person.
And so what you feel like you're shifting and slowly kind of changing?
I'm trying to learn how to. I'm in the process of learning how to do content that doesn't feel out of character for me. 'Cause I'm a very quiet person. Like, I'm on Instagram, but I show you what I want you to see. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's perception. It's
Yeah.
like the artist side of me. It's like I want you to perceive me in a certain way, so I'm going to show you what I want to show you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I'm learning how to make content in that way, and I'm not a big fan of copying. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? I see something like what Foggy doing. It's like people would say, "You got to do what Foggy Raw doing." It's like, man, he already doing it.
Yeah.
Man. I ain't trying to do that. But it's like that could be a pride thing too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
Foggy, to be fair, and I know Foggy very well. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
But like, I think Foggy built on the foundation that Nick and Paul had.
Okay.
And because I was like, yo, you need.
He was close to him.
Foggy, you got to talk to Nick. Nick, you got to talk to you. Like, you know. And so I think he took what Nick did. Because Nick was just shooting stuff on his phone.
Yeah.
Some stuff maybe he had like the 360 camera. He had some real crazy clips. We had 360 camera, throw it up, and it looked nuts.
Yeah. I've seen stuff like
and
that.
So
That's
I think
crazy.
Foggy took the bare bones
and did what he do with it,
and then stepped it up with the production value.
For sure.
Now the camera is vertical. It looks crazy. The lens is nuts. The color grading is nuts. And so he's shooting stuff that look like movies.
Yep.
So you kind of got to like take what people do and then like make it your own.
Make it your own, for sure.
I'll tell you this.
I'm learning that.
I'll tell you this though. From just this interaction, I think a huge undervalue is building an audience for things you say. That may not even have anything to do with the music. Like that's what I was been able to successfully do is
absolutely.
build a
That's
whole
exactly
audience.
What you've been able to do.
And now they're like, oh, you make music?
I gotta tap in.
You know
I like
what I
what you
mean?
say.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm
Oh,
saying,
God.
I feel like if you want to find something authentic, because you don't talk a lot, that means that when you do speak, you're probably way more calculated with your words.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be less fluff than like an extrovert that's just like,
got you,
So
got
I think you could do something like this in a format where you're giving game, you're telling your life story, you're sharing.
You put me on.
You know what I
right
mean?
now.
Like, hey,
Okay.
this is what it's like to date. This is what it's like to, you know, as it because it's
more
so,
insight to how I think.
Yeah,
more
and then,
so than the music.
and then it'll make the music make more sense.
Yeah, for sure,
You know,
for sure.
and so that's just like as we're having this conversation, I'm like, bro, you have a great voice for podcasting because
thank
you're right in my ear. So I'm like, this man got the
yeah.
illest voice.
He got the illest
You know what I mean?
voice.
So I
Thank
think
you.
you could share in a totally unconventional format and just give game.
Man, I ain't gonna cap. I'm excited now.
Yeah,
I'm
and that
excited
could
to
be your
create.
own way, and then figure out a way to stack the music on top of that. You know,
right.
so these are conversations me and Nick have all the time, and I don't know if you saw any of my latest music. Like I'm slowly implementing ways to connect the
Yeah,
dots.
I watched your. I watched some interview you did with some artist. I forgot who it was. I forgot his name. But in the middle of the joint, you asked either he asked you a question, you asked a question, and it just cut. You was like, if you didn't know, man, I do music. It's like.
Yeah.
This dude is
Yeah.
he on the song.
Yeah,
for
and my
real.
monthly listeners is up.
I'm already you,
know
ain't
what I
even
mean?
gotta already know. I'm like
so
he
anyway,
going
I
through the
say all
roof.
that to say like I think you can do something different, and I wouldn't say
In that
this.
way, in that
I wouldn't
way.
say this to a Caleb Gordon. No disrespect.
Oh, God.
Just because he's younger. You know what I'm saying? He hasn't lived as much, and so I want him just to focus on music because he's great at it and he understands short form. But I think someone like you're well spoken. You've lived life. You know, you're a little older than most of the younger kids, but you're not as old as me or a Belief or whoever or Andy. You know what I mean? So I think there's a space for that could open you up to a whole nother audience. It's just the hardest thing is mastering the short form, bro. The hardest thing for me is not this. It's not YouTube.
Okay.
It's going through this conversation
and picking the perfect
and
clips.
picking the parts to put on Instagram.
And that's where Shorty helped me. Like, she's really kind of good at that. She done went viral on TikTok.
Let's
6 or 7
go,
times.
Z.
Yeah.
Come on.
She done went viral on TikTok mad times. So it's like I have her help me a lot of the times when when we're together. Like even thumbnails, you know what I'm saying? Or pictures that I choose. Like I got an eye, but it's like she got a different kind of eye. So it's like using that, you know what I'm saying, to help one another.
Yeah, that's dope. Because I mean, ultimately, like I think the win for me, I said this. I don't know if I said this to you offline or whatever. Like the win for me is to get people into churches, but then to also give people soundtracks to their life.
Yeah.
You know, so like the music is powerful because if they're listening to you, then they're probably not listening to the stuff that is not as beneficial for their spiritual development, not as beneficial just for their mental state. Like if you're riding around, and again, no disrespect to anyone who's a fan of this, like if you're riding around listening to Future all the time, like that, like we gotta
messes with you.
You gotta admit that this is not great for your brain.
Nah, for sure.
You know,
because me and my boys, we like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? We come from listening to everything, so it's like we at a point now where it's like, nah, I can't listen to this. Like I can't repeat this over and over.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't have this being repeated to me over and over.
Yeah. And I think that's a way better argument for why we should be very careful with what secular music or whatever we even call it we should listen to than like you're gonna get a demon or like it's a sin. It's like no, every time I click I actually push it up the algorithm, and I give it
More-
more clout.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and so
yeah, that's a way to think about it too.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: in terms of CHH, like, is it me or does there seem to be a lot more bickering now and like little like cliques and cats not really collaborating as much, and like it's weird because like I feel like a couple years ago everybody seemed friendly, and to me, you know, on YouTube, like the pathway forward to build anything is collaboration. Even on Instagram right now, bro, these collaboration posts, I don't know if you've done the collaboration posts.
I've only done like 2.
Bro, they're booming.
For real?
I got my first milli on an Instagram post off of a collaboration post. Yeah. Yeah. And so like when those collaboration posts, so I see Christian hip hop and I see the scene, I see some of the most talented people I've ever met in my life, but I don't see like the collaborations as much. And then like I talk to Cass and it just seems to be like, we don't really rock with them, and this person over here don't really rock with this person. And so like, what do you make of all that? And what is all that?
Again, man, I'm like a middle child, so I see both sides. I think I will say this. I do agree. A few years ago, it was no bickering. It was a lot of unity. It was a lot of like, let's get it. But I think what it is people start. What I say is like, man, people start going viral, and they make music to go viral. And then when it goes viral, they start making money. They start getting a lot of influence. And now it's like, if y'all not doing it like this, now it's time for me to speak. If y'all ain't preaching the gospel like this, it's wrong. If you ain't preaching the gospel like that, you ain't doing it right. You need to be doing. It's like, nigga, like shut up. Like just be what like even with the features. Like I tell people, like I wouldn't tell you, like, man, you need to hustle. You need to do mad features.
Yeah.
No, I understand. I was graced to do that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. That's not a good business plan to do 400 features in the span of 4 years. It's not good business. But I'm not gonna give advice based on how my life is graced. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
And I think Christian hip hop is at a place of that. Like I seen a post the other day. This dude made a post. I don't know who it is. It was just on my Explore page. It was like something. But these lukewarm Christians ain't ready for that conversation.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah,
bruh, I bet you jack off every day. For real. It's like, I ain't mean to give you a soundbite like that, but
this is definitely getting turned into a short. Thank you.
I say that to the fans, like these, like people swear up and down that the way that they're doing it is the one and only way to be and way to go. And it's like, it's not. Like my pinky and my big toe is a part of my body, but they both serve a different purpose. You know what I'm saying? But it's all to make the best life for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's how we got to start seeing
as
it.
the body of Christ.
As the body of Christ.
You're echoing 1 Corinthians, I think. Yeah.
For sure. It's like, I'm not a fan of and I'll give you an example, because I used to be like this. When I was 2018, 2019, when I was making the music and I was, you know what I'm saying, I got my feature with Lecrae, like, not that I was thinking, I was like, man, y'all gotta be more, you gotta be more personable. You gotta be more like this. You gotta tell and one person who allowed me to, I guess you could say, advise him in his music, my boy El Dewan. Shout out my boy El Dewan. He used to let me hear his music, and I used to tell him, like, you ask anybody, I'm gonna keep it 1,000. I don't like this. It's not good. I think you should change everything about it. For real.
Everything.
Like, and I would tell him that. And he would do exactly that. He would bust out laughing like, like, nah, I'm for real. And I would tell him why.
You would tell him the specifics.
This is
this
like
cadence is whack.
These cadence, what you're saying.
Yeah.
And man, I've watched him take what I had to say and get better.
Yeah.
And I started to understand, it's like, man, he's not gonna make music like how I make music. He hadn't been what I've been through. He don't got my kind of story to tell. Maybe he is for somebody, the kids that are in the church that want to jump up and down. He make energetic music. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, this is his lane. So it's like, man, let's get better in that lane. Let's go full throttle in this. Let's make your instruments and your music better in this. Stop. I ain't gonna try to teach you how to be like me. Let's be the best you.
That's good.
Because you're gonna reach those kids I'm not gonna reach. They're not gonna go home and play me again. They're gonna go home and play you again. And the people that listen to me, they're gonna go home and play me again. They're not gonna play you again. So let's work together and get better in our own respective lanes. And like you said, collaborate. You know what I'm saying? And it don't gotta. I'm not with like, let's make music because we're Christians. I don't care. If I don't think you're fire,
Yeah.
And I'm a type of musician where I got to hear you on my music.
Right.
I feel like I can hop on anything.
Yeah.
That's just
how
I feel. But I don't feel like everybody.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I don't think everybody
That's
can.
fair.
So it's like I definitely create a distinction. Like, I will help you with yours. Like, not that I got a feature, but we can let's listen, let's play, let's shoot ideas. But we don't gotta actually make music together.
Yeah.
Unless
I
I
think that's
want to.
You said something interesting. You said there was a post about, but these lukewarm Christians or whatever.
I don't even know what he said, but it was just, but these lukewarm Christians ain't ready for that conversation. Like,
Yeah. I first of all, I despise that phrase, lukewarm Christian. You know what I mean? Because that's not even what that verse means. Like, if anyone that reads that verse, it's actually about being effective. Like, hot water has utility, cold water has a utility,
but
warm water doesn't. So it's actually about being impactful as a Christian, not like the state of your spirituality, right?
I didn't know that.
Now, there is such a thing as carnal Christians, right? Now, that's the thing. And the interesting part about that is those people aren't not Christians because they're carnal. And we know that because Paul wrote a whole book called 1 Corinthians to a church of Christians that he calls carnal. Y'all should be mature, but y'all carnal. Y'all worldly, right? And so there's a whole book written about it. And in 1 Corinthians, I mean, there, a dude is sleeping with a stepmom and the church is cool with it in 1 Corinthians 5. And so there's
you putting me on. I got to go back and read.
Bro, that 1 Corinthians is nuts. Like, if people think like America's bad and like
it used to be,
bro, way worse, right? Way worse, because the type of stuff they were into. I mean, they're talking about
bestiality,
pagan worship, orgies at the altar to pagan gods. Like, it was really dark stuff. So Paul is writing them and like, yo, like, you guys are drifting back into some of the same things that you've been removed from, and you're tolerating things in your community. And then in 1 Corinthians 5, he says something interesting. He says, it's not my business to judge those outside of the world. It's my business to judge those inside of the church. God's going to deal with those in the world. We got to expel the wicked from among you, right? So it's this like really harsh chapter in 1 Corinthians 5. And so anyway, I saw that to say, like, I think someone can be carnal and still love Jesus. They're just incongruent with their values.
Okay.
Right? So I'll give you an example. I say I'm about fitness, right? I go to the gym, the whole bit. But I had to be sober with myself that, and I'm using fitness as a parallel, right? I'm not saying like to not be fit is sinful.
No, I got you.
Because some people will take it. And, like,
it's very literal.
And so I had to get sober with myself that I said I valued this. I said I valued fitness. But if I'm honest, pandemic happened, the gym shut down, my wife had a baby, I gained 30 pounds. Almost 35 pounds, right? And so I said I value this, but I'm actually incongruent with the thing I say, and my actions don't match up in the daily things of what I put in my mouth.
Right.
I can go to the gym all day long, but if I'm eating whatever I want to eat and there's no restraint, I am then incongruent. And so I think there's Christians like that. I think there's Christians that are like, I love Jesus, but I still want to have my own little thing over there. Some of them are blind to it because they're not in the local church.
Right.
Others are just don't care. Yeah. And that's the part I'm scared about. Because if I just kept going on this, like, we're going to talk about health and fitness, and then I'm 35 pounds overweight and I eat whatever I want, that's
you say you're incongruent.
Yeah, I'm incongruent.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I think when people have critique, I do think there is a time and a space within Christian hip hop to be like, wait a minute, you say you're this, but we don't hear this in the music. And you and I know when we get behind the scenes, cats talk different than they do on Instagram.
For sure.
Some folks is dabbling in substances.
For sure.
Some folks are dabbling in substances where they should be going to therapy. They should be getting mental illness treatment. You know what I mean? But they're dabbling in substances.
Okay.
And I think so that I think there is a time and a space to critique. I hate the word lukewarm Christian, but an incongruent Christian, a Christian that says they're one thing, but for whatever reason, maybe they're in a season, a space, an environment that's incongruent with those values.
So I had a question.
Yeah.
So is it, when you say it's a time and a place, do you feel like it's a time and a place for somebody who's not in your life to do that?
That's a great question.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
because I feel like with Christian hip hop, it's like
everybody wants to do it on Instagram and all that.
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's a time and a place for my inner circle to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a time and a place for my pastor to do that. It's a time and a place for my girlfriend, fiance, wife to do that. I personally don't think it's a time and a place for somebody who's, now, let me finish my thought. It's a time and place for somebody who just listens to my music to say they feel like I'm not Christian enough because I don't say Jesus enough to them in my music.
100%.
Or
that's not a fair critique. I would agree with you.
Or to say because I work with a secular artist that I ain't Christian.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there.
So it's like when you say there's a time, like who has the jurisdiction?
Yeah. Can I give you an example?
That's a question.
So I think you're right. I think one, I don't think trying to hold people accountable through social media is usually a good idea.
For sure.
I think what you mentioned to me are conviction issues.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about not saying Jesus enough. Okay, okay, maybe he doesn't do things to the standard that you want done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then that's a preference thing, right? And then the second thing you said is you said collaborations and then not doing something to not saying Jesus enough, right? I think that's different than if you were to hop on Instagram like my friend, and I say friend intentionally, Montel Fish did, and say F off, stop trying to do this and tell me what to do.
I feel that.
That's a violation.
Okay.
And I said that to him privately. I'll say that to him publicly.
For sure.
That's a violation. Because now the very people that put you on, that gave you the opportunity to have the capacity to move to New York and just focus on cracking TikTok, because that it was a Christian audience. That's who was paying his bills up until a couple years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
That gave him the opportunity to figure out
get to that point.
To even figure out to get to that point. To then tell those people to F off because they're just saying, man, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Like, hey, we're just checking on you. You could say, hey, I'm okay, guys. I'm in a good space.
This is what I'm doing.
This is what I'm doing. Or he even got to tell him. Because with Montel, I think it's a whole character thing.
Sure.
I think he's doing...
The Jamie, the Ghost Boy.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. But when you start saying that, so I think that right there is a violation. And though I would agree that, yes, social media is not the best place to keep people accountable. I agree with you. But I also am empathetic to people that feel so like...
enthralled into your music.
Yeah,
like, I'm involved.
like that
I was here. I've been here.
Yeah, and then they go,
I
what happened?
Definitely feel that. I definitely feel that. Because I don't know. Like, I feel like even we can, you know what I'm saying, talk about the Montel situation. Like, I definitely agree with you that maybe that, not even maybe that the F off could be hurtful. Mm-hmm. It is hurtful to, like you said, to somebody who's been listening to you for so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. And now, not necessarily not that you're different, but now that you feel like I'm in a different place of where I'm trying to take my music or who I'm trying to reach.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's more so what he was saying. It's like, because I feel like he said it in the caption too, like, my purpose is no longer to
just make Christian music.
Be here for y'all. I have to be here for them too. I'm in the field. And I feel like we don't really have jurisdiction to know what God is telling him, what he actually is feeling. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's, you being his actual friend, I feel like you have jurisdiction. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're under his comments or not, and his likes or not. If you know him personally, I feel like you have jurisdiction to check him. But I feel like definitely like the comment fingers, the Twitter fingers.
Yeah.
Not even saying like, hey, are you okay? But like, you need to read the Bible. Like I've seen, and that was one of the reasons why I left the comment. I left because it's like, man, like, even
I don't remember. What did you say? I
just said go crazy.
Oh, you wild for that? Nah, I just said you wild for that,
bro. Because at the end of the day, bro, it's like I prayed for him because I seen the cuss words and I was like, oh, he going ham. You know, even I thought it was funny with the way he do the cigarettes. I just think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like I bust out laughing when I seen him. He had the unlit cigarette. I was like, this dude's crazy.
Yeah. I heard they were prop cigarettes.
They're prop cigarettes?
That's what I heard. Maybe they were real
a lot of the times when I see him, it's an unlit cigarette.
Yeah.
It's just the aesthetic, what it looks like for that character.
Yeah.
It's an unlit cigarette. So I just bust out laughing. But it's like, when I see hate, when I get on the comments and I see, because I try to comment on everybody's stuff, whether I'm ragging on you, whether I'm showing love, whether I dislike it.
Yeah.
Like
it's still the algo. You're still showing love in the algorithm.
Try to show love in the algorithm. Yeah. So I get in his comments and I don't see like, hey, I ain't gonna cap. I did see something like, man, we're just checking on you. Like, you ain't gotta cuss us out. Like, we love you.
Yeah.
But I also seen some dirt, bro.
Nah,
it's like,
you're right.
So, and I know us as artists, we don't look at the love. We look at the dirt. So it's like, man, I'm gonna just show love.
Yeah.
I prayed for him, like, sent one up real quick. Like, you know what I'm saying? I hope he's going in the right direction. I hope this is God.
Yeah.
And I hope he continues to stay on the path that leads people back to Jesus. But ain't no way for me to tell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I ain't about to get on Instagram and condemn him and say he a lukewarm Christian now.
And by the way, I haven't said anything or spoke on anything until I saw that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh man, like
you going crazy.
You kind of cross
the F off is crazy.
Yeah,
the F off is crazy.
That's kind of wild. I think the rest of it though, I think it's fair. This is my thought goes, if an artist starts in the Christian niche and crosses over, right? And they're not saying F off and they're not cussing and making music that now calls evil good, right? I'm like, that's a W to me. Like that's a W to me. So even if you are doing things and you're crossing over, I wish the audience was more excited about that.
Yeah.
They're not. They're not. And in rock music, it seems like they were. We're in San Diego.
Striper, they definitely was.
Yeah.
Like, my uncle listened to Striper.
So out here,
It's a white man.
Yeah, we
You know
have
what I'm saying?
we have a Switchfoot. I don't know if you ever heard of Switchfoot. POD is from San Diego. So these are platinum selling bands.
Oh, no way.
at
I
one
haven't
point.
heard of Switchfoot.
Yeah, Switchfoot POD are like from here. Like I know Sonny personally.
Okay.
The guys, dad, one of the lead singers down from Switchfoot pastors a big church out here.
Okay.
So when they crossed over, it was like, yeah,
Like,
this is a W.
let's go.
Let's go.
The work begins.
Now we can use your music to show our non-Christian friends and say, I know you heard this song, but you really know what he's saying is this. That's a W, right? Because it becomes an evangelistic tool. But it was also, maybe it was because the internet wasn't around. Maybe it was because everybody didn't have
It's more personable.
It's more personable. Everybody can share their voice and opinion.
You can hear that person, see that person.
So I feel
see
like
how they walk.
there got to be a way for artists to, if they're graced to your point, to cross over, to go mainstream, to do it in a way where they don't have to feel like they got to compromise their faith, but at the same time to not alienate their core audience, and also cross over and reach more people, right? And we really haven't seen that in hip hop, unfortunately. Lecrae is probably as close as we saw.
Yeah, I feel like that's the path that I'm on.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the path World 45 is on. Because I agree with that. Like, I feel like I've seen a lot of artists, not even to name names, but that was in the Christian space, and then they like, no, I ain't Christian no more. I'm deconstructing, or it's like, I've faced too much backlash. I'm gonna do what I want to do, and they go completely left, and then they just, you know what I'm saying, they lose that anointing, they lose that grace in a sense, and they kind of crash. So it's like I said, I'm an observer. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I see that, and it's like, nah, like that's clearly not the way to go.
Right.
So it's like,
and by the way, I have never seen that work. And I've been paying attention to Christian. I have never seen an artist
come out and say, I ain't going Christian.
I'm not a Christian no more. Yep. You got popping as a Christian artist, and then you're not a Christian no more. I've never seen that work.
Never. And they usually go crazier. I've never seen them go crazy.
I've never seen them go crazier.
They still make music, and it may be still good music, but I've never seen them go hard or be as big as they were in this space.
Yeah. And I get in trouble for this. Like, I think my heart is like, I rather check in on people and make sure they're living like Christians
lives,
to try to care how their music sounds. You know?
I think that's I feel like that's more important. I feel like, man, if you walk in a day-to-day life, if this is how it comes out, this is how it comes out. I know for me personally, like, I've lived a life completely aside from Jesus and God, so I have a lot of other influence in things in my life, or how things come out, or how I say my verbiage, my tone. So it's like, at what point am I don't know, like, compromising myself, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's, we all got to deal with that on our own.
It's an inner battle.
Yeah, it's an inner battle. I think generally, like, again, my heart just goes, I call on Foggy Raw, and we don't talk about music. I just talk about, how you doing? You going to church?
For sure.
You reading your Bible?
Yeah, for sure.
You loving your wife?
Yeah.
That's it. That's what the conversations are about. You know what I mean?
That's what I care about.
Everything else is peripheral, and in time, he'll figure out what he should or shouldn't say. Now, we could have a conversation and make content about it, and that's interesting. And you know what I'm saying? Ruslan asks Foggy Raw about, you know what I mean? Like, that's interesting. But I think the like you said, that being personable, I think is the W.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Man, that's good. That's good. I think I just want to see dudes have a bigger imagination with regards to even how they build their foundation. Yeah. If you have a bigger imagination, you may be able to avoid some of the toxicity.
When you say bigger imagination, what do you mean?
I mean, like, we don't have, like, how do I say this? Okay, I'll parallel it this way. Only 20% of income earners will make more than $100,000 a year.
Okay, you put me on game. Let's talk.
Yeah, so 80% of people make under 80,000. 80% of people make under $100,000 a year.
Wow. In the world.
In the world.
Okay.
You're statistically now dig this. You're statistically more likely to be a millionaire in America than you are to be fit. There's 15 million millionaires, and so that's about 1 out of 10 households have $1 million net worth. Okay, they take that like all their assets together, their house, $1 million
for sure.
And only about 1 in 30,000 people are fit enough where their abs are showing. And people get like, what do you mean? Abs are showing at like 17, 18% body fat, sometimes 15%. That's actually within a healthy BMI. So you should be, you're a healthy body fat percentage. For men, we should be under 19% body fat. So that's such a small percentage, right? 20%, right? 20% make over 100K. Less than that, 1 in 25,000 make are fit, right? 1 in 10 are worth $1 million. So those odds sound awful. Terrible.
Yeah.
I gotta get in the top 20% of earners just to make $100,000.
Right.
But my thought goes, shouldn't we study the outliers, the people that are defying the odds, and say, well, what do they do?
What are they doing?
What are they doing? And so if I go back to fitness, I'm on this whole thing. I'm on my 3rd week. I look at all my buddies that were fat, that got shredded, and you know what, bro? It's freaking chicken and broccoli.
Yep.
It's chicken and broccoli, no sugar, no soda, never sugar. Chicken and broccoli, bro. So guess what I'm eating?
Let's do it.
Chicken and broccoli. And so when I say a bigger imagination, I go, what is Foggy doing? What's Nick doing? What's Paul Russell doing? What's whoever's going viral on TikTok? Whoever's going viral? Caleb Gordon. What are these guys doing? If that's what they're doing, I get it. It's hard. But dag, a lot of us are already making a full-time income off of this. We know quite a few people making 30, 40, 50, 60,000 off of being Christian hip-hop rappers, right? Christian hip-hop. So when I say imagination, yes, statistically speaking, it's very unlikely you're going to be fit. Yes, statistically speaking.
But look at the outliers.
Let's study those guys and do what they're doing and do it for so long that it would be unreasonable for us not to be successful.
Okay. I think that's the key right there. Do it for so long. Because a lot of people, they don't get that.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
They don't get that.
It's hard. And I don't know if it's because I'm in California and it's just mad expensive to live out here.
So you got to do it.
You gotta work. 100K that's not a flex. 100,000 here?
It ain't the same as 100,000 in Tulsa.
Yeah, man.
I already know.
It's light, So I don't know if it's like
spend that in 6 months.
Yeah, I don't know what that fire is, but maybe it's just my perspective. But so anyway, I say all that to say, I am so optimistic about Christian rappers that they could be 10 times bigger than they are. I just think they don't have the optics. Yes, yes.
Optics. Now I agree with you, man. Hearing your definition on what you mean by bigger imagination, I definitely agree with you. I definitely. I'm on that same path. Yeah. So it's like, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I guess my position as well.
Yeah, I just be like, how many more blueprints do we need? Like Toby did it before TikTok,
He did it with YouTube.
He did it with YouTube with one camera and sitting in between his
6 mint outfits.
And just doing it and then built, and now it's beautiful. Now it's over the top. So that's what I'm getting at. That's good. Is there anything else you want to say about Christian hip hop before we change topics?
Christian hip hop is cool.
Dope. You're not denying it. You're not running from it.
Nah, man. Because I always tell people, man, I'm gonna make the songs any song you ever hear from me, I'm gonna make this song whether I was Christian or secular. Yeah. I don't cuss in my music, obviously because of my faith, but also when I started making music and I dropped out of school, my mama said, I'm not gonna support you if you talking crazy. Yeah. You got sisters, you don't club. Yeah. You in the house playing the games. Yep. Let's talk about that. Yeah. You're not about to sit here and lie. Yeah. That's how my mom, that's how she talks. So it's like, I rock with that. Yeah. She ain't used to, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't say the N-word around her before. I don't know if I can say nigga on here. I just said
You've said it like 3 times in the pod. You have. It's okay though.
My bad,
that's your second or third time. It's okay.
Okay.
People get mad at me for not being mad about that, and I'm just like, that's a conversation for black folks. Yeah, like, my bad. What does my opinion matter on that at all? Like, what do you want me to do?
That was my first time realizing I said.
Nah, you good.
My bad. But yeah, that's you know what I'm saying. My mom, she was on me in that type of way. That was the way she wanted to support me, as if I was really talking about my actual real life.
That's dope.
So that's another reason. And then I agree. Like I have 4 little sisters. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not even that type of person. I'm not a partier. I'm not a clubber. Yeah. When I did do that, my back was against the wall in the corner, ready to leave. So it's like, I ain't about to give you something I'm not. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I'm gonna try to give you exactly who I am. So.
Yeah. Give people the most congruent version of yourself. That's dope. That's beautiful, man. And I hope people hear this conversation, the longer version, the shorter version, and really go and check you out, because I think your music is congruent, and that is the refreshing part.
Yeah.
And that's why I said earlier, like, man, you should consider making content like this, because it's
am.
consistent.
I am.
Like, it's
Me.
consistent, you know? Okay, so my audience would be mad if I didn't bring this up.
Let's bring it
okay?
up.
You've mentioned your church.
Yeah.
And you've been very active and faithful. You mentioned your pastor.
Yeah.
And for the people that don't know, you are a member of
Transformation Church.
Pastor
Tulsa.
Michael Todd.
Michael Todd,
What has that been like, just to see his meteoric rise and everything?
We already
going
knew
on?
it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
We knew it was gonna happen when we was in high school. He's just that type of dude. Same person you see on stage. Just a more refined version, more mature, better leader, better husband.
How long have you known Pastor Mike Todd?
Since I was 17. I went to high school with his little brother, Brenton.
Okay. I think one of his brothers, we follow each other on the gram. Might be Brenton.
It might be Brenton.
Was Brenton the one in the prop we don't got to go and talk about right
that's
now?
him.
Okay, yeah. So me and Brenton follow each other.
Thank you for not bringing that up.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Letting people know that it's not what it seems.
Brenton's cool. He was.
That's Brenton's heart.
Yeah.
That's his heart.
Yeah.
Like, he wanted to be that person. Like, it wasn't, and that wasn't the first time he did that either.
Yeah. So you've been around him since you were 17.
If you ever hear Pastor Mike talk about, I was in a circle talking to the kids, like I was one of the 30 kids in that circle.
Wow.
Like, his brother used to ask me all the time. Me and my best friend Raheem, he used to ask us all the time to come.
Yeah.
Shoo him off, like, get out of here.
Yeah.
And one day it was just like, let's just go.
Yeah.
And we was going for the shorties. I ain't gonna cap. We was going for the ladies. There's some fine ladies in there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, babe. I was young, though. I was 17, though, so she know.
That's fair.
But we was going for the ladies, and then you see Pastor Mike, man, he walk in, you know what I'm saying? He walk in with the 14s, he fitted, he suited, and then he started preaching to us. He started giving us the word, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I want to be like him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then he got married. I was at his wedding, like, I want, you know what I'm saying, my wife to have her type of character.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, then he took over the church. It's like, man, I want to lead people like this. So it's like, and we've had our ups and downs as, you know what I'm saying, him being not only my pastor, but at one point my real big brother, you know what I'm saying, being around him a lot of times. But yeah, no, it's been great. Like, I feel like God wanted me under his wing, and even through the lows that we had, like, God told me to stay there, and that's where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. And it sounds like, from what you're describing, like, you didn't just hear stuff that was taught. You actually saw his life and caught some of that.
Every day.
So you're like a actual byproduct
for sure.
of him mentoring and discipling you.
Yeah, and absolutely. Like, I'm an observer.
Yeah.
So I watched how he lived his life.
Yeah.
And I obviously, just like we was talking about with the content, you put your own spin on it because you got your own life, the things you come from.
Yeah.
But I'm derived from him for sure.
Yeah.
My spirituality, the way I take it serious, the way that I go about my life, my music is, you know what I'm saying, it's authentic because he was authentic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's beautiful, man. I think that's really refreshing for me to hear.
Okay.
And I keep meeting more and more people that say amazing things about him. Ray Rock, obviously Pastor Tim Ross. I've had him. Well, he doesn't like me to call him pastor, but I've been on his pod. He's gonna come on my pod. He's amazing. What do you think about some of the criticism about him specifically? And do you think some of it is warranted, or do you think it's kind of bogus? Because I've been critical at times. And again, we're not gonna talk about the spitting thing.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
But what do you think about just some of the?
Yeah, I mean,
the
some of it is like some of it is he is so fired up and he's so, I don't want to say ambitious, but he's like, he has a vision. He feel like God gave him the vision. He wants to. He's like a presenter. Like he's like a visual teacher. So it's like, man, I can't just say it. It's in me. I gotta show it to you. It's like I can sit here and talk to you, and it's like, if you hear me, you hear me.
Yeah.
It's like I'm gonna talk in my tone. It's like, I'm not about to stand up and present a full.
Yeah.
That's Mike though. Like,
he's always been like that.
Man, even in the studio, you know, no, he'll stand. You gotta do it like, and then that's his personality.
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes it has been taken carried away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like he has to face backlash. I feel like some of it is warranted, some of it isn't.
Yeah.
Some people focus on other things outside of the full message. They take sound bites. And I feel like if people, and I'm not saying he's 100% right. I'm not saying it's her. I feel like everybody has heard something from their teachers or masters. It's like, I don't know if I'm gonna go and get my own thing on that. But more times than not, it's like, man, I agree with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And you feel like it's even a safe space to not always agree. The culture is like, you don't
he make it that way.
Yeah.
He make it that way. Sometimes he said, like, man, like, I don't know, like, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Come to me, talk to me.
Yeah,
like, if you, like, especially when I was younger, like, when I could just, after church, I could walk up to him.
Yeah.
Like, like, even when I had a problem with him, like, I was just like, bro, we got to talk.
Yeah. That's dope,
like,
man.
He was like, all right.
That's
I had to sit down and tell him, like, bro, you did this. Like, I don't rock with that. Like, I know I'm supposed to be here, but I don't even like looking at you type vibes. I had to tell him that. For real. And it's like, he's like, man, it's like, nothing I can do about that because that's what it is. But, like, I apologize. Let's get better. How are you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And let's break it down. So that's been my experience with him.
That's dope. I've caught criticism for not dismissing certain people as false teachers.
Okay.
Right? Because I think there's a difference between like, yo, this person's a wolf, this person's a false teacher, and this person might be in error here or there, but they mean well. And so I'm getting dragged right now for not calling Joel Osteen a wolf and not calling this person a wolf and not And by the way, this isn't just me. This is Pastor Mike Winger. This is Alan Parr. Like
the people want y'all to lash people.
Yeah, it's like you gotta come, just call it what it is. He's a heretic. I'm like, I don't know that. I don't think
my jurisdiction?
Is that my jurisdiction?
Sure.
I'm hearing good reports from other people. But would you say, do you think I've ever been, I don't know how much of my videos you've seen. I think I maybe 2 or 3 videos on Mike Todd. Do you think I've ever been unfair?
I wouldn't say. It's almost like the I see your post about your captions or your thumbnail. It's like stuff like that be funny.
Oh, the thumbnails is all Zach, by the way.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it's all Zach. We roast Zach all the time. Zach does all that. I don't make any of the thumbnails. It's like, sometimes I'll be like, yo, that's too far.
That's too far. It's like, bro, that is not even what they was talking about. Like, but it's sometimes I feel
packaging.
Like
by the way, I'm genuinely asking because I'm trying to grow in self-awareness because my heart is to have conversations like this and platform artists and pastors.
Right.
So that's why I'm asking from your vantage point as someone you know me and you know Mike Todd.
So my only question would be like the one video I seen. Did you watch the whole sermon? Because I think the video I seen y'all was about ambition. Like,
oh yeah, I watched that whole sermon. That was old though.
Okay,
that was old. I watched the full nutrition sermon.
Okay,
I watched that mug, which I was like, yo, this man's gluttony is Satan's favorite sin.
Yeah, gluttony.
Yeah, I watched that joint. I was like, this man be up there for 2 hours preaching, and that's how I opened the video. This is impressive. Yeah. He be out there for 2 hours. You know what I mean?
He be up there sweating for real.
Yeah.
It's like
So yes, so that one I watched the full version of.
Okay. So,
Ambition, I watched the full sermon. I watched quite a few. I watched maybe like 5 or 6.
If you watch a full sermon and you got a problem with something you heard in a full sermon, then I feel like it's cool.
Okay.
Like I feel like you always gonna with teachers, man. Teachers, it's a cliche. Like no person is perfect.
Yeah.
Especially a teacher. Like teachers are, correct me if I say that in the Bible. Like teachers are judged more harshly.
Yeah. James 3:1. Yeah. Don't presume to be a teacher.
Don't presume to be a teacher because you're. And I think that's all it is. Yeah. It's like because he teaches all day, every day. It's like he may get some things wrong. He may, you know what I'm saying, go a little too far onto the gas when he should have pulled back, or he may, you know what I'm saying, may not have went as hard as he should have. Yeah. So it's like if you watch the whole sermon and you find the issue, I think that's cool. I think and I ain't say this, but I think that's another thing with Christians and Christian hip hop. Like people find fault and throw you out the window. Yeah. And it's like I don't rock with that. Yeah. Like, if you find fault in the thing and
well, to be fair, I reached out to him after I made my very first video, which was bigging him up. He made a video. It was either end of 2020 or 2020. I think it was 2020, where you guys gave away a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is dope. This is like Oprah, but for the kingdom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, literally, that's literally what it is.
And
like,
so the first video was like out the rip, like, yo, this is amazing. And I actually sent him both videos, and I DM'd him, and I was like, hey, I'm doing this thing out of the boat. I think it was out of the boat thing.
When he was in the water,
in
the boat. It's like this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And so I like reached out to him, like, hey man, like if you ever, I would love to talk to you if you ever want to. And so I think he obviously never. Do you think he'd ever talk to me?
I think he would.
You think he'd come on?
I think he's just busy.
Yeah.
Like that's why I say like I don't get to talk to him like that.
Got you.
Like the last time we actually met him, like sat in person. Well, I serve at my church, so it's like if I'm serving, like I see him walk past, like when he coming down from his office.
Yeah.
But then again, it's in passing. Like he's walking to the stage type vibes.
Yeah.
So it's like, I see him like that. But actually, the last time we actually sat down and got to talk for like hours was like last year.
Okay, got you.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like he really, and I live 20 minutes from him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like he just really he be real life busy.
Yeah, I get that. You know, and I'll fly to him. You know what I'm saying?
You might just have to pull up on him. You might have to just pull up the transformation like, man, I'm Ruslan. Like
that'd be funny.
Oh God, and just set the whole thing up right in his office and just
go for it.
As soon as he walk in, like for real.
That's funny.
He might just sit down and do it for real.
That's funny. Okay. All right. If I do that, I'm gonna say you told me to do that.
Nah, don't.
I'm gonna run this back. I'm gonna be like, yo,
don't do that.
No, I wouldn't do that. But no, I think here's what I think. I think everyone should get ahead of the narrative about themselves, even if they may have faults and errors.
Okay.
Right? So that's why
so
like
you don't feel like that's wrong?
No. I don't think that's wrong. Because I've tried the give up the need to defend thing, right? Like give up the need to defend yourself, right? And what happens is in this era, man, people run with whatever narratives. And oftentimes, most people don't have a good faith argument. A good faith argument is, we disagree on fill in a blank, but I believe the best about you.
Yep.
I believe you're actually trying to help. And maybe the details, or maybe we have some totally different presuppositions, but I don't think you're trying to be mischievous. So when people who don't have that approach, and it's a bunch of logical fallacies. This is called the appeal to motive fallacy, where people in debates. If you ever did this in a real debate, you get laughed out of the room. You can't claim to read someone's minds and know their motives.
Right.
Can't do that in a debate. You get laughed out of the room. So it's an appeal to motive, and it happens a lot.
Even if you feel like you're right.
Even if you feel like you're right, you still can't be like, well, really. Then that's what the whole like lukewarm.
I know this
Christian,
what you're really thinking.
Yeah, when people are like lukewarm, you don't know what someone's devotion is. You don't know what their heart is. So we always, my opinion, we always got to remove that. And so when you know that a lot of the critics aren't going to appeal to, aren't going to give you the benefit of the doubt. This is my opinion. I think that when criticism comes, it's always better to just address it head on and have some sort of podcast or something where you can then own the hard stuff. And again, in my situation, I'm doing this thing called the 30-day. This is me being vulnerable with you. I'm doing this thing called the 30-day wisdom challenge with my buddy Pedro. Pedro is a multi-8-figure entrepreneur.
Okay.
And he's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He lives out in San Juan Capistrano. Been to his house, met his wife multiple times, been in a prayer group with him.
Yeah.
But he's doing this thing with some people who I disagree with. Bill Johnson from Bethel Church, and then Joel Osteen, right? It's a 30-day wisdom challenge. Every day there's another speaker. I'm one of the speakers, a virtual event. And I was like,
it's a virtual event.
It's a virtual event.
Okay.
So we're not in the same building. We're not at the same conference.
Yeah.
We're not on the same stage. It's a virtual event. He asked me to do it. That's my guy. Of course I'm going to do it. And then the video came out, Ruslan partners with Joel Osteen.
Tough.
And I was like, hold on, does Joel Osteen think I'm partnering with him? You know? And
that's crazy.
And I was like, yo, here's the deal. I don't think Joel is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I think he's in error about the prosperity gospel. However, I'm not going to mark him as a heretic and dismiss him. And so,
throw him out the window.
Now I'm getting dragged for it, but I instantly did a video and owned it and explained it. And I said, this is one of my closest friends. Why would I not do it, even if I disagree?
So that people understand the entire situation.
Yes.
For sure.
And wouldn't you want me in those circles?
Wouldn't you want me?
Wouldn't you want me to be in the same thing as a Joel Osteen?
You're speaking my language.
You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you want me to proclaim a more accurate gospel? Which I would say I would proclaim a more accurate gospel. So anyway,
you do.
I say all that to say, full circle, that's why I think like it's optimal for people to sit down, have the hard, messy conversations, whether it's Maverick, whether it's Michael Todd, whether it's Joel Osteen, sit down and give your apologetic for why you believe what you believe. And maybe I fell short here, maybe I fell short there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's interesting that you say that because I've been thinking about that too. Like, I deal with a lot of things because of the way I make music and the way I carry myself and stuff like that. So it's like, I've always felt like, man, maybe it's wrong to try to get ahead of the narrative. That's why I asked you, do you feel like it's wrong? Or you don't feel like it's wrong?
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't say I've been struggling with it, but when certain situations, like, man, should I get ahead of this or should I just say something or, you know what I'm saying? So it's good to hear, you know what I'm saying, that you deal with that too.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to pivot to our Patreon exclusive for this version of the conversation. So if you aren't signed up for Patreon, you want to hear the rest of this, we're going to continue down this conversation and you guys meet us over there. All right.